Yeah, I'm the one who cannot lie. I think it's my first time to meet you here. I'm Atomy Global Product Branding Department Director Kim Hyun Kuy. Great to see you all. Let me introduce myself. I joined Atomy last year, and prior to that, I worked at Coma BNA for more than 10 years, and I was the head of the Institute of Food Science. So I developed a lot of products for Atomy, and among them, HemoHIM was the key product. At first, when I joined Coma BNA, the first thing I did was the on-site training and education. All the employees do that when they join the company. So I had to go to the manufacturing site and with the employees. I was putting the dongchai, angelica, peony in the extractor and taking the ingredients out and doing the packaging for the finished product. So I went through all this process and study about how HemoHIM is produced. If I look back, it's been like 13 years since I met HemoHIM. So for the last 13 years, a kid will finish high school and enter the college. So indeed, when I joined Coma BNH, my kid was elementary school student, but now my kid became an adult. So that's quite a long period. So as I was working at the research institute, I planned research about HemoHIM, and I myself participated in HemoHIM research and study about HemoHIM. I'm not sure if you can read it from the slide, but as I did a lot of research on HemoHIM, you can see my names on the patent registration and academic journals. So have a look. So as I conducted research on HemoHIM, there's one thing I got really confident about. The excellence of HemoHIM, where does it come from? My conclusion is HemoHIM has a very special combination of ingredients. That's my conclusion. And the first thing is polyphenol. So when I say polyphenol, it's a phenol compound in plants. So it works as an antioxidant in our body. And as Rich mentioned, it can prevent inflammation and prevent aging of the cell and the formation of cancer cells. So polyphenol, the prime example is like catechin from green tea and quercetin from onions and resveratrol from grapes. These are the prime examples of polyphenol. So what about HemoHIM? What kind of polyphenol is contained in HemoHIM? If you look at the packaging of HemoHIM, chlorogenic acid, peony fluorine, novocaine, these ingredients are the polyphenols of HemoHIM. And the second part is polysaccharide. Have you heard about this term, immune polysaccharide? So polysaccharide, like the glucose, the sugar are connected in a long chain, and it forms a very big molecule, and depending on what kind of glucose is connected and how long the chain is and how many branches it has, it can become a very different polysaccharide, and the effect can vary a lot. I think you might have seen this from some commercial, aloe polysaccharide and ginseng polysaccharide. So these are really playing a big role for immunity. So these polysaccharides are contained in HemoHIM a lot. So to boost the polysaccharide, HemoHIM is extracting these ingredients, but not only that, there is a separate processing for this. Polysaccharide processing to strengthen the polysaccharide. So this is the key processing technology for HemoHIM. And thanks to the processing method, HemoHIM can have a very special combination of the ingredients, polyphenol and polysaccharide. That's why HemoHIM is so special. There are many good polysaccharides for HemoHIM, so maybe you'll also be able to call HemoHIM's polysaccharide. So the excellence of HemoHIM has been demonstrated in 35 academic journals, and among them there are 14 academic journals about immunity and also some papers about fatigue, which I'm going to talk about today. And one point I want to mention is HemoHIM is recognized to have double function to boost immunity and to improve fatigue. But if you look at other immunity products, you will not be able to find one that boosts immunity. So it's only HemoHIM that has this function, like large ginseng and aloe products. It's usually boosting the immune effects. So as I mentioned before, thanks to the special combination of ingredients, polyphenol and polysaccharide, is not only boosting the immunity, but as was mentioned before, sometimes it increases the cytokine, sometimes it decreases. So it modulates the cytokine, the transmission of the signals, and the activation of the polysaccharide immunity effect. So depending on the condition of our human body, it regulates the ingredient. That's what the special combination of ingredients of HemoHIM does, and it's well demonstrated from the science journals. That's why it says HemoHIM is boosting the immunity. So from HemoHIM, the him part, HIM, M refers to modulation. So it modulates the cytokine levels in the body. So now let me talk about how it helps improve the fatigue. So research about HemoHIM's role in improving fatigue. I think I can say that you are the ones who started the research on fatigue, because you experience HemoHIM yourself and you're sharing the experience from it. Some people say there are less dark circles, and now I can wake up really easily in the morning, and even if I work late, I don't get tired that much. Many people say this. And as a researcher, I believe immunity and fatigue are really closely related. So I wanted to demonstrate the functionality in a scientific manner about what you experience. So that's how we started the fatigue functionality research for HemoHIM. So this is the timeline. The beginning was in 2017. In 2017, based on the experience of the consumer, we started the research. And in 2023, last year, we got the approval for the functionality certificate from the KFDA. So it took quite a long time, about 7 years. And Usually, to get the individual certificate from the KFDA, the focus is the functionality, the effect, and the safety of the intake, whether it's safe to the human body, and whether these ingredients can be managed well. So these three things are the focus for the inspection.
However, already immunity was certified, individually certified. So about the standards and safety, HemoHIM already passed them. And fatigue reduction, that effect had to be proven. And human test and animal experiment and the research papers. So that is why it took 7 years. It was already developed, but we had to go through all these processes to introduce you this year. So it was a long way for us to get the certification. And how do you define fatigue? As I mentioned before, there were a lot of expressions for fatigue, and the Korean FDA says physical and mental capabilities get reduced. That is the definition. And even after sufficient break or rest, 6 months of fatigue continue. And if it's longer than 6 months, it's chronic fatigue. If it's 1 month, over 1 month, over 6 months, do we have anyone that is going through fatigue? No one? Maybe it's thanks to the HemoHIM consumption by all of you. How about around you? If there are any that is going through a hard time because of fatigue, please recommend HemoHIM. The Korean FDA defines fatigue, and in order to get recognized for the functionality, as we can see from the tables, we have very broad-based research model. And it includes energy supply, antioxidant effect, and recovery from muscular damage. So these kind of experiments, plus exercise capabilities and the indices for fatigue improvement, what are the figures. So those are the numbers that we based when we were getting the certification from the FDA. So that is how 7 years passed for them. So we proved the functionality and we made it into research papers. And including Korea, in the US and Russia, in these countries, the fatigue reduction effect, the PCT international patent was registered for these countries. And even from now on, we are going to expand the country list. So let me go further in details. For animal experiment, we looked at the treadwheels or swimming time for animal experiment. So there was, so in the water, one group was the control group that had HemoHIM, and the other group was so the test group had HemoHIM, the control group didn't have HemoHIM. So, and then we looked at how long they were floating over water, swimming. So the mouse group that consumed the HemoHIM had longer floating time. And the similar result for human applied tests. We measured the physical work, persistent tests, and how significantly helpful it was. And we used cycle ergometer. That was the research design for us when we did the human applied experiments. So there were some equipments, there were some devices that people wore. And when they cannot step on pedals because they were so tired, so how much time did it pass? And a lot of other figures were measured during the test, including exercise tolerance test. And the test group that consumed HemoHIM had the longer duration for exercise. So you have already experienced the effect of HemoHIM, right? And now it's scientifically proven. So these human applied experiment, actually we cooperated with the athletic department of Seoul National University, and it's published. Also, to the participants of experiment, we looked at the fatigue surveys, including FSS and MFI. And in those surveys, we were able to see how fatigued they were in everyday life. And it was also part of our human applied experiments. And the test group that consumed HemoHIM had significant difference when it comes to physical activity and the improvement of fatigue, physical fatigue. Not only during the 4 weeks, not only during the 8 weeks, but even within 4 weeks, there was a significant improvement effect. So now we have the effects of HemoHIM proven scientifically and also by yourselves. And more recently, we have good news. We got certified for anti-doping. I think you all heard the news. And just a while ago, there was Paris Olympics, and our national teams had accomplished a lot during the Olympics. And you have heard the word doping popping up frequently in the news, right? Doping means that an athletic consumes or injects material to improve their athletic performances. And the World Anti-Doping Committee has already designated those substances, and they are banning the substances. And in the list, there are substances that can damage, that damage or can damage the athlete's health. So we don't have doping substances, and if consumed, it's completely safe. So we are now certified. So based on those research, maybe some of you might have been thinking, maybe you're an athlete. As an athlete, is it really okay to consume HemoHIM? I'm an athlete. Is it really okay? Am I going to be okay to consume this? Maybe some of you were worried, but from now on, we are already certified. So the professional athletes can also be reassured to consume HemoHIM. You can recommend athletes around you, so it can also be very helpful for your business running as well. And also immunity enhancement and fatigue reduction and anti-doping certification. So I think it was a very huge milestone for HemoHIM to work towards the future. And the certification organization, the name is Informed Choice. A lot of global companies have been certified from that organization as well. So on the website of Informed Choice, if you search HemoHIM, recovery formula is the product category. So it's for recovery, and that's the product category. And immunity, functionality, and workout support are mentioned as the purposes of consuming the product. If you look at the recent statistics, more than 60% of the Korean population are participating in the everyday life physical exercise. And as you get older, people participate in sports for all a lot. And even in everyday life, they're exercising very much. And so this certification could be good news for them as well. Lastly, I want to make a summary. I think I didn't mention this today, but this year is the 20th anniversary of the law application of for healthcare food, for health functional food. So since the beginning, I got certified for 20 total 20 products, including sulfamethyl and lutein, zeaxanthin, and more recently, the melon product, the more latest product. Maybe you know the product. So among all these products, including bitter melon, and I think HemoHIM, among all these products, the most significant effect and scientifically proven, I think it will be unprecedented and unprecedented even in the future as well. I'm very confident about it. So I think it's all thanks to your love and support for HemoHIM. I have 5 keywords to summarize my lecture for HemoHIM. You don't have to remember other things, but let's remember these 5 keywords. First, what is it? Immunity enhancement. Second, fatigue reduction. Third, what is it? The component, the most important component, polyphenol. The fourth, polysaccharide. And the fifth, anti-doping certification. Immunity, fatigue, polyphenol, polysaccharide, anti-doping. The 5 keywords. I think you should remember these 5 keywords. And you know everything about HemoHIM, you can say. You are very actively engaging in Go 100 activities, right? HemoHIM consumer, Go 100. How about that? We can use these 5 aforementioned keywords to do the activities. I suggest. Perhaps the accomplishments and the research could be way better because we need to get 5 times higher salary, right? As chairman mentioned. So as I mentioned before, currently not only the general public but also professional athletes can feel reassured to consume HemoHIM. So it's the new era for HemoHIM. I think it could be more helpful. I hope it could help your business as well. And to do that, please remember the 5 keywords. Thank you very much.